Welcome to Tech Blueprint, a window that lets you know the latest technology news in the world. In the past few days, the ups and downs of the US election came to an end. Trump was re-elected president, which also created the miracle of re-election across generations. Biden was a little embarrassed and became the shortest-serving president in modern America, but this may not be good news for Chinese companies. Trump has not yet taken office, and he has begun to replicate the operation of 5 years ago. According to reports from multiple media, TSMC has officially notified mainland AI customers by email that it will stop providing 7 nanometers and more advanced processes to mainland customers, starting from November 11th. On the surface, this is no different from the previous requirements of the Biden team, but in fact there is a big difference. Previously, it was mainly aimed at Huawei, and this time it will take effect on all Chinese companies. It is basically impossible for TSMC to continue to cooperate with mainland China in the future. This decision has a lot to do with Trump. In an interview on October 27th, he said, "Taiwan stole the chip business, and they need the United States to provide protection. In the past, we did not receive this part of the money. You know, gangs will collect protection fees." The reason why TSMC did this has long been revealed. In addition to Trump's desire to collect the so-called protection fee, there is another important factor, that is, the U.S. Department of Commerce has launched an investigation into TSMC and believes that ASCEN 910B is TSMC's foundry for Huawei through a third party. Trump seems humorous, but his style of doing things is quite ruthless. He had already shown his intention to isolate Huawei at the beginning, and TSMC rejected Trump's invitation to build a factory in the United States, which will definitely make him resentful. At present, the Arizona factory has successfully trial-produced and will rely more on orders from U.S. companies in the future. In order to surrender, TSMC can only give up the mainland market. This operation is almost the same as 5 years ago, and it is still aimed at Huawei. Trump has been thinking about retaking office as president in the past few years. He is well aware of the international situation. Huawei can use its own strength to make the Kirin 9000S chip return, which is enough to prove that Huawei is the backbone of China's semiconductor industry. It is not surprising that it is targeted again. The reason why Biden's standards for AI chips are used is because he is grudge against Huawei. As long as it is not good for Chinese companies, he will not cancel it. At present, China's powerful AI manufacturers are Huawei, Haiwang Information, Cambrian, etc. The measured performance of ASCEN 910B has exceeded 20% of the A100 chip, which is also the reason why Chinese companies disdain NVIDIA's customized H20 chip. Among them, Huawei has the greatest potential. Once the new regulations, officially announced by TSMC, take effect, it will definitely affect the foundry of AI chips. With the current domestic semiconductor industry chain, it is still impossible to complete the production of high-end processed chips of 7 nanometers and above, but fortunately, China has completed the pure domestic production of 65 nanometers lithography machines. Through the chip stacking process, it is possible to meet the current performance requirements. After the return of Huawei's Kirin 9000S chip, the U.S. Department of Commerce conducted an investigation and looked through all the records of lithography machines. No clues were found, and the conclusion given was purely domestic. Recently, the head of ASML also responded, "It is possible to use DUV lithography machines to achieve mid to high-end chip manufacturing." Such a conclusion makes the United States even more uncomfortable. Although Kirin 9000S is not a 7nm process, it is a serious 7nm in performance. So this time Trump's target is definitely Huawei, but after 4 years of changes, Huawei is no longer the original Huawei. At present, Huawei has completely gotten rid of American technology in the fields of communication technology, chips, systems, etc. If the operation 5 years ago wants to continue to be implemented, it will not achieve the corresponding purpose at all. Therefore, the United States might as well open up international cooperation to avoid losing more ugly at that time. With Trump's re-entry into the White House, the fate of the chip bill, promoted by the Biden administration at a cost of $300 billion, is confusing. As early as during the campaign, Trump made sharp criticisms of the bill, calling it a bad plan. This has given China's technology community a glimmer of hope, but will things really develop in a direction that is beneficial to China? Since the introduction of the CHIP Act in 2022, it has been a blow to China's technology industry. SMIC cannot buy advanced lithography machines, Huawei cannot be foundry through TSMC, and even NVIDIA's latest H100 chip is banned from export to China. These restrictions have made China's chip industry quite difficult in recent years. But a closer look at the reasons why Trump opposes the CHIP Act is actually closely related to his consistent America First concept. He believes that the bill has given a lot of subsidies to foreign companies such as TSMC and Samsung, and this money should have been used to support local American companies. In Trump's view, foreign companies can be forced to build factories in the United States by imposing high tariffs, and the government does not need to spend money on subsidies at all. This way of thinking actually exposes Trump's other understanding of the global industrial chain. NVIDIA, the world's largest chip design company, relies heavily on wafer manufacturers and equipment suppliers around the world for its business. If this connection is forcibly cut off, it may hurt the interests of American companies themselves. It is worth noting that the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives had previously expressed his intention to consider repealing the chip bill, but soon changed his position. The political game behind this is probably much more complicated than we imagined. What Biden cannot do is not so easy for Trump to achieve. What do you think of this?